What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. A little side note before we get started, I just want to say I am on the road to 3K right now, and I would love to hit it by my birthday, which is in June. So if you're not already subscribed, you should, and I will love you forever. Okay, thanks. Let's move on to the video. Sorry if the lighting keeps changing. I feel like today it wants to rain, but then it also wants to be sunny. Yeah. So as you can see from the title and the thumbnail and everything, I got a sternum tattoo. I currently have two other tattoos. I have this one here on my shoulder, and then I have this one on the back of my arm. It feels like I have three tattoos because this one was done by two separate people, but it's technically only two. This one I got in Oregon, and then this one I got here in Seattle. And where I got this one was actually at a tattoo expo that they do every year, or they did every year. And it was perfect because I moved here. I knew I wanted a tattoo, and I was like, okay, well, who do I go to? I don't know anybody. So it was like all of these big tattoo artists from Seattle just go to this one place, and you can just walk around and sign up for a tattoo if they have time. So that worked out perfectly. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this every time because I still don't really know anybody, and I don't know who's good, and I like to just be there and see it. But then 2020 happened, and they didn't have the tattoo expo that year, and then they also didn't have it last year. So I kind of gave up on that, and then I jumped on Instagram. So I spent so much time scrolling on the hashtag Seattle Tattoo Artists, and there was so much. It was kind of overwhelming, but I was just looking for the perfect thing. I wanted like fine line. I wanted it to be delicate because of the placement. I think that was my main concern, and what had stopped me from getting it for so many years was just being worried that it was gonna look chunky and not good on me. So then fast forward to now, well, not now, fast forward to November. I find this girl, and I am scrolling through her Instagram, and I'm like, this is it. Like, I love her work. And I find this flash sheet that she had posted, and there was one on there that I was like, that's the one. That is what I want. It's perfect. But it was like already claimed. So I was like, dang, should I reach out? Like, I don't know if I want to reach out. I feel weird about, like, I don't know, I get nervous about it. But I'm glad I reached out because she texted me pretty immediately. I think it was like the next day, and was like, yeah, we can totally do something similar to that. I'll customize it a little bit just so it's like not the exact same thing, but a little bit different. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, cool. So I booked with her for March. So I booked in November for March. And I'm so glad that I waited because it was so worth it. So then fast forward from March to now, I got it March 2nd, and the night before I was starting to get really nervous because I hadn't seen the design. Like, I didn't know what I was getting technically. I knew kind of what it looked like on the flash sheet, but I didn't know what exactly it was gonna look like, and so I was getting really nervous. And also, I'll get into pain, but I was on Reddit just reading through people's experience with sternum tattoos because I had heard that they were like the most painful spot ever. And I was getting super worked up about it because, as I do, I just wanted to be prepared. But yeah, so not only did I not know technically what it was going to look like, I also was super nervous about the pain, so I was just freaking out about it, even though it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. So then I get there, and she shows me two designs. They're absolutely perfect. I'm like, I don't even know what I was worried about. She's obviously a great artist, which is why I picked her. And I wish I would have taken a picture of both, because then you could see like which one I didn't pick, but they were both super cute. I had such a hard time choosing which one I wanted. Obviously the one I went with, they both actually had moons underneath with like another little sparkle, and I really liked that, but I was afraid that it would go too far down like my stomach, which I didn't really want it to be super big. It wouldn't have been big, but I didn't want it to be too long. So yeah, in terms of what I wore, because that was my first question when she had texted me back the first time. I'm like, what do I wear to something like this? Because it's a very vulnerable spot. So she basically told me, like, you know, you can wear a tank top or a swim top or like pasties. So me being me and being like, I need to be overly prepared, I brought all three. I had a tank top on, but I also brought a swimsuit, and then under my tank top I had pasties on as well. So I was like, what do you want? What should I wear? And she's like, oh my God, you're so prepared, which I thought was funny because I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting nervous. That's just anxiety, really. So yeah, I basically just had the tank top, and she also set up like this little thing. I'll show you. But she set up this thing so when other people came into the shop, it was more private and you couldn't see me, which I appreciated a lot because it's kind of uncomfortable just to be sitting on a table with your shirt up. And yeah, I didn't know who was gonna come in. So let's get into pain, because I'm sure that's what, if you clicked on this, that's probably what you're wondering, because that was my main concern. So I've never really been able to know how to describe pain tolerance. I've never broken any bones, knock on wood, but like I'm not sure. I would think that I have a low pain tolerance, but I also feel like I have a high pain tolerance. I think in general, physically, I feel like I might have a low pain tolerance, but mentally I'm able to push through it, if that makes sense. But overall, this is easily the least painful tattoo that I have out of the two. That being said, it is fine line. It's also pretty small, and I think just the technique and what she did helped a lot with that as well. Everybody's different. Everybody's pain tolerance is different. But I swear I've had like more painful dentist appointments than this, which is great because an hour before that I was freaking out about how bad it was gonna hurt. I'm honestly trying to remember if any of it really hurt at all. I think the main thing that I was worried about was my breathing, because obviously, you know, it's in a spot where you want to control your breathing, and I think when you're thinking about your breathing, you start to breathe unnaturally, and it's just all those things. The only thing that sucked though was like, we were having really good conversation. She was actually super cool. And anytime I would laugh, I'd be like, oh crap, sorry, like it's hard not to, but I think she's probably used to that and knows how to work around it as long as like I'm relaxed for the most part. But also, yeah, she kept checking in on me and asking if I was doing okay with the pain and everything. And it was a breeze, and I'm honestly shocked, but I do think it's because it is very dainty, it's fine line, it's not as much like, it's not as aggressive. And her tool, and I don't know if it's just her tool or if it's a fine line tool, but it wasn't loud like other tattoo guns are, so I don't know if that makes any difference, but that was something that I observed. So I'm editing this back, and I just realized that I forgot to add in the time that it took. It actually altogether took about an hour and a half, and that's with me going in, choosing the design, her printing it out, taking my ID, like all of that stuff. I want to say maybe the tattoo part itself probably took maybe like just under an hour, so not too bad. As far as cost goes, I'm sure most people are curious about this, and I don't know how much this varies from place to place, but I paid $250. I feel like that's completely reasonable. I'm pretty sure I also paid $250 for maybe both. I think maybe all my tattoos are in that range. Yeah, I feel like it's completely reasonable. Like, this is their craft, and if they're good at what they do, you should be able to pay for it, you know what I mean? If you want a cheap tattoo, you're gonna get a cheap looking tattoo. And then I guess, let's see, the healing process. So it's been a week so far, or what's today, Tuesday? It'll be a week tomorrow, and it's been pretty easy. I was nervous that I wasn't gonna be able to sleep on my stomach because I'm a stomach sleeper, but she said it's totally fine, you'll be good. And it was totally fine. I had no problem sleeping. I also haven't worn like an actual bra in a week, which I'm not usually super fond of, but I was afraid of rubbing and all of that stuff. So I've just been wearing tank tops under all of my clothes. Oh, and like right after the tattoo, she put on like that second skin bandage. And I never had that with these tattoos. I just had like the saran wrap. So that was an interesting experience. Usually you just leave it on for 24 hours, but she recommended, just because I did have to work the next day and I agreed with like having hair and things. I don't want that to get into it. So I kept it on for about a day and a half. And I think that is why, but when I took it off, it was pretty irritated. Just like not the tattoo, but like the skin where the second skin was. And it stayed red for about 2 days. But I think if I would have taken it off within the 24 hours, it would have been fine. And it's fine now, so it doesn't really matter. But that was my experience with like the second skin bandage and not just saran wrap. But yeah, in terms of aftercare, I just been washing it twice a day with the Sensitive Dove shampoo because it's unscented, and then I moisturize with the CeraVe lotion because it's also unscented and for like sensitive skin. So that's been working out. It is kind of itchy, and I forget that it's there, so I'll start itching, and then I'm like, oh crap, like I get scared that I'm gonna mess with it. So yeah, sometimes I just try to pat it instead of scratch because I do have long nails and I don't want to mess up the tattoo. But yeah, it's getting a little flaky now. Like I said, I'm on day 6 and it's just now starting to flake a little bit. So I feel like once you flake, that's the end of the healing process. But I assume overall it'll probably take like a full 2 weeks to heal. So I think in the future, I do definitely want to get another tattoo from her because it was such a pleasant experience. I really loved it. And I think, even though I just got this, I'm already like, okay, I can add like maybe a couple leaves going like this just to kind of like accentuate the shape. And I think I want another little sparkle on top because I like the idea of that. But she's already booked out till August, so I got some time to think about it. All in all, I'm super happy with this. I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I waited for what I did because I feel like maybe if I jumped the gun a little bit and just like picked somebody who was available then, I might not have liked it as much as I do, so. And I'm so excited to show it off this summer. I think that should cover all the questions. I'm trying to think of all the questions that I had prior to getting it. And I think I've covered them all, but if I didn't, feel free to leave me any questions in the comments and I will definitely answer them to the best of my ability. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get me to 3K. Bye!